YouTube and welcome back to my channel. This is some old Elvis guy. It's lovely to have you join with me again today. First of all, an apology from me. It's been such a long time since I've posted new content and I really appreciate those of you that have stuck with me. It's been a challenging time balancing work and content creation, but hopefully I'll be able to make some more videos soon. Today's video is a little bit different because I get to go outside. That doesn't happen very often. Now, some of you will know that back in October of 2023, Elvis Direct from Graceland exhibit opened at London Arches, London Bridge. And here are the details about that. And after wanting to go for so long, and by the way, it's been extended twice from its original intended run, I got to go last week. So I was keen to video as much as I could so that I could put a video out for you, the fans, who maybe haven't managed to get there, so that you can see some of what's there. Now, unfortunately, I wasn't able to film direct to camera and do pieces direct to camera, because throughout the exhibit there's Elvis music playing at a reasonably loud level, which would have got me a copyright strike. So what I've done is I've videoed and photographed as much as I can, and I'll add voiceover to that for you. So I've done it in such a way that I hope it gives you a feeling of being there, of walking through the exhibit itself. Now, my apologies for some of the reflections. Things are in glass cases, as you would expect. And with the lighting, it's hard to get perfect shots of everything. But I've tried my best, and I was super excited. I did the VIP white glove experience. So you'll get to see some of those Elvis artifacts up close. So without any further ado, let's dive into the video direct from Graceland. Turning the corner and seeing that Elvis sign on the wall, I don't know about anybody else who went there, it got me super excited. And then you turn to your right and you see the massive sign in the huge picture of Elvis from the '68 Comeback Special. Got me excited, I can tell you for sure. Let's go in. The first artefact you see as you enter is the gold-plated telephone from Elvis's bedroom, along with his razor and his comb. Let's walk further in. I've had to mute the Elvis music and add some general music to avoid a copyright strike. I love how there's a mixture of video screens all the way around as well as the artifacts themselves. Nice to see a model, scale model of the Tupelo birthplace as you go in. Stage show from 1956 and some early artifacts from school. I'll pop photos on here to let you look at the artifacts a little more closely. Here we have more artifacts from the early days, even including Gladys's social security card, which I thought was wonderful to see as rare and unusual things as that. Again, I'll pop some photos up here for you to have a closer look. I suspect some of the items covered in plastic could be facsimile copies of the originals, but I'm not 100% sure on that. Some of them look more worn with age than some of the other artifacts do. I'll let you walk on to the next part of the exhibit. Throughout this exhibition there are some amazing photographs blown up large on the walls of Elvis. Lovely to see. Here we have some really interesting documents and souvenirs from those vibrant early days. Again, I'll pop some photos up of the individual documents so you can have a closer look. I'm not going to do voiceover for all of this because I think it's important for you as fans to be able to explore some of this on your own, a bit like being there. I found it really interesting to be able to stand there and read Elvis's contract and the sort of details of it. It just brings it all so alive. I thoroughly enjoyed the experience of being there, and I hope this video captures some of that for you if you've not been able to get there. Again, a clever mix of wall artwork along with video clips being shown at different points through this exhibit. I wish I could play you the Elvis music that was in the background, but I would get an automatic copyright strike if I did so. So I've had to replace it with some general background music that I've got copyright clearance for. Some exhibits related to the Colonel's belt buckle, etc. Some early Elvis related memorabilia. I'd love to play the Elvis Presley board game. Again, I'll pop some photos up here so you can have a closer look at some of these early souvenirs that people back in the 50s could have bought as Elvis fans. I thought it was amazing being able to look at and see Elvis's white stage shoes that he wore through the 50s. Just wonderful to be there and see all of these aspects of Elvis history, including Sun singles. Now this next area I loved, the area with Elvis cars and vehicles. It was so well done with projected images, even signs from the stables for the horses, including Rising Sun's sign. One of the highlights for me was being able to stand next to Elvis's Ferrari Dino 308 GT4 1975 model that Elvis bought for $20,000 in '75 and is currently estimated to be worth in excess of $1 million. And that's not the only car in this exhibit, but more of that later. Apologies for the reflections in the glass cases. With the lighting, it was really hard to avoid reflections. You can see there in the case Elvis's briefcase telephone from the 1960s. I'll pop some photos up here of different items of clothing to let you have a closer look. I thought it was really good that they included Elvis quotes on the walls alongside the footage of him from various eras. It just created such an amazing atmosphere. I found this Lisa Marie exhibit really quite moving, with the footprints and items of her clothing. It was nice to see her recognised in this exhibit as well. Some of Elvis's jewellery beautifully displayed as well, and it's lovely to see it so close up. Even Elvis's captain's police badge and other related artefacts. Even the very record player from Elvis's bedroom. Imagine what was played on that over the years. Imagine being there. Let's now walk through to one of my favourite parts of the exhibit, the concert years room. Some amazing photos and quotations on the walls, video being projected, and so many artefacts to look at. Let's have a closer look at some of the Aloha artefacts. I'll stop talking and let you walk around this area a little and soak up some of the atmosphere. One downside I would say was how most of the jumpsuits were very high up. I've tried to video them as best as I can. I understand they would have been short of space, but it would have been lovely to have had them further down. I'll pop some photos of the individual jumpsuits up so that you're able to have a closer look. And of course the 68 special had its own end with video clips, artefacts and outfits. I just had to get my photo taken next to the American Eagle jumpsuit. You know, just being in the same room as all those jumpsuits that Elvis actually wore and entertained millions wearing is just something else. Quite a moving experience, if I'm honest. Just to be there beside those aspects of Elvis history. Just think what those jumpsuits have seen over the years. It was so cool to see the actual leather wristband Elvis wore in the 68 special, the script, and a ticket. Imagine having a ticket and being at that special. What would that have been like? Oh my goodness. We then have some of Elvis's gold records. Again, I'll put some photographs up to show you there. We've got The Wonderful World of Christmas, Moody Blue, From Memphis to Vegas, From Vegas to Memphis double album, Aloha from Hawaii. By far the highlight of my visit was that I got to do the gold VIP white glove experience. Very much a bucket list item for me, to be able to hold artefacts that Elvis himself wore and used. Was such an experience. I can't tell you how emotional an experience it was and how scary, because incredibly valuable and important items. The staff were so kind and we had to hold the items in a specific way so that they weren't damaged, but they gave us so much time to be able to take photographs and videos, and I've tried to pop up enough of them for you to get a closer look at the artefacts So let's dive into the white glove experience. When I booked my tickets, the aviator sunglasses were not part of the VIP experience. They only came over a week or so before I went. Interestingly, one of the lenses was a prescription lens for Elvis's eye that required that. There's also quite a weight to the glasses, a bit heavier than you might expect. Elvis's gold stage microphone from 1969. Again, being able to hold something like that, something with the historical significance that Elvis held in his hand when he came back to live performances, was just stunning to do. Although super excited to hold the attendance belt, I did feel really quite stressed because the links on the belt are very, very fine and made of gold. And a couple of them were already broken by Elvis, and those obviously aren't fixed because it's an artifact. But amazing to hold something like that. The staff were great at helping make sure we held it in a way that nothing could be damaged. But to be able to hold something of that significance that was Elvis's was just such an experience. If you look at the belt close up in these shots, you can see the sparkling jewels that are actually in the buckle. The staff very kindly offered to film for me the contents of that display case while it was still open, which allowed me to get these shots that were that little bit better because the case was open at the time. And you see the aviators and the microphone close up, and of course Elvis wearing the belt when he went to see President Nixon. The white glove experience I would thoroughly recommend. I found it quite an emotional and moving experience.
And that concludes the VIP part of the talk.
I hope this video has given you some idea of what the experience is like if you have not been able to get there. They also had a theatre area where they showed clips from Elvis movies, clips from Elvis concerts, etc. And there we have costumes from the Baz movie. In a homage to the walls outside Graceland, there's an area where fans were encouraged to sign on paper to mimic the wall, which I did. I said earlier there was another car, and boy, what a car. The only car of Elvis's to ever feature in one of his movies. His red MG that featured in the movie Blue Hawaii was beautifully staged, beautifully lit, inside a movie room featuring clips from his movies and posters all around. It was quite an experience to wander around and to look. Again, I'll pop some close-up photographs on the screen for you to have a closer look at some of the artefacts that are in the glass cases. If you've been to this exhibit, why don't you let me know in the comments what you thought of it, what was your high point of it? And if you haven't and you've just watched this video, are there artefacts that you really liked seeing on the video? I appreciate any feedback. As I say, my apologies for not being able to play the Elvis music through the video. That would have made it just wonderful, but I would get a copyright strike on YouTube. And I know there are some reflections in the glass cases, but I tried my best to shoot round that because I wanted to make a video to let fans that haven't been able to get to this exhibit to get something of a feel for what it was like, and hopefully I've managed in some way to do that for you today. And obviously I had to get Susan to film me stood next to that car. Wow, what a beautiful car. Lovely to see all the original Elvis posters as well on the walls. And again helped to create that kind of an atmosphere, and it makes you remember just how many movies Elvis made. And he's unfairly criticised, I think, for some of his movies. When whatever the movie was, he raised it beyond what it would otherwise be because of his charisma and his ability as an actor. More items of Elvis clothing to be able to look at close up in the glass cases, and also the wee mini Elvis theatre, which showing clips, in this case from the 50s as well as the 60s, and movie clips as we saw earlier. I think there was, as there often is, an absence of things from the last couple of years, from 76 and 77 of Elvis's life, but we know the EPE tend to ignore that period, which I think is unfortunate. I would like to have seen maybe little clips from the CBS special or artefacts related to that, maybe promotional material for it, or things from the sort of tail end of his career. But alas, there wasn't really much from that period at the exhibit. And as we head out, there's my wife Susan, as we head out past the Tupelo birthplace model, and out where we came in, again past the iconic gold telephone and the video screens where we entered, we go out through into the gift shop. There's a wee cafe there which was nice. The staff were all incredibly lovely and attentive. It was a really good experience. There were some nice things in the gift shop, some stuff too expensive. You'll notice that t-shirt there I wore at the beginning of this video. I loved the concert style jacket, but £170 was more than I was able to afford to pay. I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you have, I'd really appreciate it if you hit a like and subscribe to this channel and click the bell so you can get notifications of new videos. Thank you for joining me on this video direct from Graceland exhibit at London Arches, London Bridge. It's been lovely to have you join with me. This has been Some Old Elvis Guy, Duncan. Until next time.